I'm David Clinch. I'm the executive editor of Storyful, and Storyful is essentially a news agency, but a news agency for the 21st century. So unlike AP and Reuters that have crews and go out and film content and bring it back for distribution, our role as a news agency is to discover content in real time that is not traditional news content, that is user-generated content or content from the web or content from non-news sources, but that is really useful to news organizations. And there are three things that we do to be able to provide that service for news organizations all over the world. We discover the content in real time, and we have a discovery technology that helps us to find that content. We verify it to make sure that it is absolutely real, that it is what it says it is. And then once we know it's real, we also secure rights to it. So the video that we deliver is not just something we found on the web. We discovered it in real time, we've verified it, and we've spoken to the person who owns the video, who provided the video or posted it to the web, and we've secured the right to distribute it to news organizations all over the world. The videos that we provide are not the whole story. They are pieces of video. But in order to be used properly by journalists, they need to know that they're real and that they can use them and that they can get in touch with the person who filmed them, so that a journalist who may not be anywhere near the scene, or maybe at the scene but in another place or another part of the scene, either way, that journalist and the news organization can use this video with proper verification. So we at Storyful are sort of the gold standard of verification in the news industry. And when a big story happens, like the breaking news of a bomb at the marathon in Boston, all of the news organizations in the world are interested in the video and what's happening, but they're very, very nervous about saying the wrong thing or using a video or an image, especially if it shows a person in it or shows what is the event itself. They need to be sure that it's real. And so the role that we play in Boston is we're not the only ones finding video, but we're the ones who are delivering that video with all of the information that you need to use it properly, so that you, as a news organization, whether you're in the United States or in Japan or anywhere in the world, can use that video and know where it came from, who shot it, where they shot it, and they use it properly, as opposed to just seeing a tweet or an image or a picture or something and saying, a Facebook video shows the bomber doing this, or a Facebook video, shows the victims of the bombing. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You shouldn't take video and images just from the web and use them. You really need to be sure what you're using. So that's the service we provide. We also play a very important role in telling you what's not real. So we're able in Boston and in other stories to be able to say, these images that are going around on the web that show somebody with a backpack, we can show you where those images came from. And those images came from an original set of photographs, which shows that they've got nothing to do with the bombers. They're just people with backpacks in a huge crowd of people, and there are lots of people with backpacks. So don't trust what you see on the web. Don't trust anything unless you know the whole picture. So we verify. We also tell you about video and content that is being verified, but we also, very importantly, we tell you as a news organization, stay away from these images or this video because it's not real, right? I mean, and that happens in, tsunami in Japan with earthquake and other sort. The moment an earthquake happens in Japan, every time, old video gets posted immediately, right, from previous things. Here's the nuclear site shaking, or here's a building shaking in Tokyo. We immediately are able to tell our news partners, stay away from that, that's old video. But when new video comes along, we also want to be absolutely sure that it is new, and we want to know where the original is. Because if you can find the original, then you can verify it, but you can also find the person who filmed it. Because we want to be able to supply video, but also stories. People who are there on the scene, they can tell you a story. If you're not there as a journalist, they can tell you a story. But you need to be sure that they are who they say they are and that they are where they are. So that's the job that we do. Well, Storyful is a global company. We're based in Ireland, Dublin, but we have newsrooms here in New York, and we have newsrooms in Hong Kong, and staff elsewhere in the world. And we're staffed 24/7. There are between 50 and 100 people at Storyful, but only a portion of them are journalists who are actually looking editorially at content. But we also have, and we're expanding very quickly, product people who build the systems that help us discover and verify. And we now have also sales and business development teams that we didn't have before. So we supply the videos that our system discovers, and we verify them and we distribute them. But we also have relationships with all of our news partners that allow them to ask us for things. And if we already have it, we tell you. But if we don't already have it, and you, a news organization, says, I see this video on the web, is it real? You know, there's a guy on a bike running and he's being chased by a bear, and I want to use this video. Well, we will get back to them and say, that video isn't real, it's a fake. You know, if you want to use it, just make sure your audience understands that it's a fake. But here are 3 other videos that we have of bears doing crazy things that you can use that are real and licensed. But we also get news requests all the day. So for all of our news clients are communicating with us all the time. You know, we're interested in the story in Syria, or we're interested in the story in Thailand or in Hong Kong or whatever it is. We are probably already looking for the video that our news clients want. But if we're not, then we can turn, our system is like a radar. We can turn that radar onto any story, anywhere, whether it's news or weather or environment or, you know, anything. We can go and look for videos. We don't necessarily like to get like long lists of video that we go and chase, because that's not really the way we work. But if your news company is interested in a particular kind of story, we can help you find that video and verify it. Great shareable video. You know, it could be anything. We have one that's trending at the moment of people walking on an ice lake in Slovakia, and it's just amazing video. It's just there's no story, it's just the video itself and the people who are in the video. And that video is getting millions of views across the web for our news partners. And so that's a very important part of what we do as well. The biggest thing that we have to deal with is that there are a lot of news companies who still think that it's okay to just take something from the web and say, I'm going to use it because I found it on the web. And if somebody put it on the web, then it's okay for use. Well, it's not okay for use. And there's almost no country in the world where it is really legal to do that. But there are lots of countries in the world where the laws are not very good, and people just go around the law, or they say it's fair use, or you know, it's public. We don't believe in those things, especially for this kind of video. We really believe that at the very least you should credit the person, and if you're going to use it and make money out of it, then some of that revenue should go back to the person who owns it. So yes, it's complicated sometimes with the different legal situations, but the way that we make that argument to our news clients is that you might not want to think about the legal issues, but you should, because if you do the wrong thing, you're going to look really stupid if you use video that isn't real, and your reputation will go down and down and down. If you say, I found a video on the web and it shows this, and then it doesn't show that, your reputation will go down and down, right? We also want to make sure that if you are going to use video from the web, and if you are going to make money out of it, there really is an ethical model that helps you actually make money without spending very much money. Because in most cases, you know, a licensing fee or a revenue share agreement with Storyful doesn't cost you that much money. It sometimes doesn't cost you anything. But then it's up to you. If you use the video really, really well and drive lots of views, you make lots of money. So you're just giving a portion of that back, right? So what we are stressing to people is, you might think that you're better just stealing the video and taking it from the web, but actually you're better doing it properly in agreement with the person who owns it. You won't get sued, it doesn't cost you very much, and you can make lots of money out of it instead of just stealing something and then pretending that you had the right to it. So we think slowly but surely we're winning that argument with a lot of news companies that in the past used to just take video from the web and use it. And we've been able to help a lot of big news organizations understand that that's not a very good way to do things. Well, as I said, we have an office in Hong Kong, and we're also looking at expanding across Asia Pacific. We have a lot of clients in Asia Pacific and Australia and Asia. and we expect to have some more soon, and hopefully in Japan as well. Well, two of the things that we think that we can do there is we think we can bring a lot of news to those Asia-Pacific clients from other regions like the United States and Africa and Latin America, where you don't necessarily have as many bureaus or as many people as you did in the past, and you can't cover those stories as well. We can bring you that video from other places. But we also think that we can help in your own region and in your own country discover and verify user-generated content in a better way, because we see a lot of issues in Asia, like you were talking about with copyright, and video gets distributed all over the place and nobody knows where the original came from. We think that we can be very helpful, and in order to do that, we are taking very seriously all of the platforms that exist in other parts of the world. So we were obviously already on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all of those platforms here. But in some parts of Asia, it's also important to be on WhatsApp, or it's important to be on Weibo, or it's important to be on whatever platform exists there. So that's what we're doing now as we grow in that region of the world. We're making sure we understand the platforms and the way they work, and we are taking a lot more content from those platforms than we used to in the past. There are two ways that we handle that. We have as many people on staff with different languages as possible, and we have lots of Asian languages and other languages on our staff. But we don't think that prevents us from also searching, because our system, our technology, can really search in any language. If we put the keyword in English, it will translate it into other languages, and it will help us find those things, even though we don't speak the language. And then we also have we have a very big network that we work with of our clients, our partners, other journalists and other organizations that we work with, who, when we need help with language, we can say, okay, this is what we think it says, but we can put that content into one of our public spheres, like our open newsroom or somewhere else, and somebody who speaks the language can come in and help us. So we don't feel like we need to speak every language in the world to discover the content. But when we need a language to really verify something, we have access to experts and to local either clients or friends in almost every region of the world who can help us with the language. And our technology can really search in any language.